Welcome to Lotus Me Bloom podcast. This is your host, Madison Ansel, and in this podcast, I talk a lot about spirituality, self-development, things I've learned, and so much more. So if you're into that type of stuff, then you found the right podcast. Hi everyone, welcome back to the podcast. I know it's been a long fucking time since you've seen my face, if you're watching or listening to my voice. I've been going through a lot of different things the last couple months, and I don't really like where I've been at mentally, and we're going to talk about it here today. We're going to talk about just some things that I want to change in my life going into 2024 and reflecting on this year, but also I want to just kind of give you guys some life updates because it's been, I don't know, a few months. It's probably been since like October since I uploaded, and I was uploading every week. I was really in the groove and like enjoying this, and I'm happy to be in this chair right now talking to you guys, even though I know like I don't have a huge following, and I know some people really don't give two fucks about my life or where I've been, but this is such a great outlet for myself, and it's been, oh my God, I don't even know where to start. It's just been very, I don't want to say lonely, but yeah, in the same sense of I've just been going through some stuff, and it's like I don't have a whole lot of people to talk to about it that understand. Yeah, so we're going to talk about it. I've been talking a lot about what's been going on my TikTok. So if you guys want to keep updated with me, my TikTok is Madison Ansel. Everything's linked down below. But let's first address that I'm holding my mic if you guys are used to watching me. I kind of love the idea of the idea. Like I don't know. I'm making this way too big than it needs to be, but I love some of the podcasts I watch where they hold the mics. And I watch like 3 different podcasts that do that. And I don't really know if I'm going to like it, because I could see where this could be tiring and annoying. And also I don't have my shield on this mic with, because it was attached to the mic stand. But my mic stand is so fucking annoying. And I also want to apologize. Not even apologize. Let's take this back. I cuss. And if that makes you uncomfortable, I'm sorry. But I love to say fuck, I love to spice up my language with some cuss words. So if that makes you uncomfortable, I'm sorry. This is not the podcast for you. Anyways, I just heard someone today say how unattractive it is for people to cuss. And like, it wasn't towards me, but I was just like, I fucking love saying fuck and shit and damn and ass. Like I know that sounds so immature just saying it in those sentences. And I think you can be very immature with cussing. I think if you're just adding it to every sentence in an unnecessary way, yeah, I think it could be annoying. But this is how I express myself. So anyways, I don't want to go into 2024 apologizing for being myself. And that's something I want to, I need to really step into the version of myself that I want to be. And I'm trying to get there. But like, I want to make changes, a lot of changes, not only to, my life, but like my podcast. And I've been wanting a whole different mic stand. It's been something, I don't know why, like I didn't ask for Christmas or something, like from my boyfriend. I don't think of those things. And I also hope everyone had a great Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Tomorrow is New Year's Eve, which is just freaking insane. Like, how did 2023 just end already? Like, honestly, the last few years have been like shitty. I'm not gonna lie. Like, if you guys follow me on TikTok and if you watch the evolutions of the last few years with me, like I feel like I've kind of been going through it the last few years. And honestly, who hasn't? I mean, the world we live in right now is fucking scary. 2020 was obviously 2020. We don't need to talk about it. That was rough in itself. 2021 was really fucking rough for personal reasons. And 2022 was supposed to be like my comeback year. You know, it was supposed to be like, okay, we got through the bullshit. We got through the trauma of 2021. Now let's get back to it. And like it was the year I took time away from, you know, the spiritual world, you know, trying to get back into being more human. And if you don't know what I talk about, like on this podcast, you know that like I used to do a lot of spiritual stuff. You know, I did apprenticeship, and that took up mostly of 2021 and beginning of 2022. And I dove really deep into myself and did a lot of inner work. And 2022 was the year that was just supposed to be relaxing, you know, and I didn't do any courses after I finished the one in the beginning of the year, but I just was getting back to myself. I was getting back into a healthy version of myself. I lost 30 pounds in 2022. I've talked about that here on my podcast, so make sure you check out that episode. But it was okay. It was okay year, you know. And I'm not saying that there wasn't positives in each year, because 2021 also was like a great year. Like it was the first time I ever worked on set, kind of like with acting. So that was like a cool thing for me. And like I made strides that way. And there was things that happened that were great. And 2022, like I said, was really all about my health. But 2022 also was like very daunting mentally, because I was just like, I feel like I'm not growing. I feel like I'm not like where I want to be. I did get my Reiki masters, and, you know, I did things that were like big accomplishments, but like, I still was like, damn, what the fuck? Like, why am I still here? And here we are in 2023 where I'm thinking the same thing. And it's almost like, you know, if you've heard of the saying or phrase of like, the same shit's happening, is just in like a different font or something. That's kind of how my life's been. And like, not saying I haven't had great things happen, because I have, and I've made huge leaps, and I don't give myself enough grace or gratitude or, you know, praise for that. And I think that's really fucking huge to do. And I talk about that in many of my episodes, like to make sure you give yourself some fucking praise, because, you know, a year is so short in actuality. Like it is so fucking short. And I kind of try to do like 5-year goals now, like 3-year goals, because I know that like one year seems to just focus on one thing for me, and I'd like to try to get away from that. I actually been seeing a lot on TikTok of people talking about how they plan their goals in quarters, like quarterly, like every quarter of the year. They plan it like that's their year. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I'm going to accomplish in 90 days. So I kind of want to take that approach. But anyways, 2023, it was looking good. And then, you know, it's just been rough since my grandma passed. And that really took a turn, because I truly did not think that was going to be my last year. This was going to be my last year with her. I don't think any of us did. And, you know, my other grandma passed in 21. So it's just been like a lot of like grief the last few years. And it's just been hard. And, you know, I've tried to like push through and, you know, really start taking care of myself. And I have been. But it's just, yeah, it's just been a roller coaster. That's the perfect example. It's just been so up and down. And 2022, I was really getting fed up of like, you know, they're like, with the zodiacs and astrology, they're like, oh, fixed signs. Like it's going to be a rough time. And 2022 was a rough time for fixed signs. If you're a Taurus, Scorpio, I can't remember all the fixed signs. I'm sorry. Taurus, Scorpio, I don't know. I know there's a few more. All right, I looked it up for you. It's Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius. So, you know, they kept saying like, oh, 2023 is going to be easier on the fixed signs. And I got so fed up with astrology in 2022. I was like, fuck this shit. I'm so tired of you guys saying that this full moon's going to be great and this and that. And like, I think I've just gotten to the point where I'm not lost hope. It's just that, for example, my friend sent me a TikTok just probably 30 minutes ago or so. And this guy was talking about how, everything comes from within. Like, your answers lie within you. And like, he gave an example, like, I don't know. He was trying to clean something. Oh shit, what was it? It's like a wood burner or something like that. And like, the glass had all the soot on it. And no matter what he did, he could not get the soot off the glass until he realized, like, he wet the paper towel and put ash on it, and ash was the only thing that got it off, which ash came from within the wood burner. So basically, he was just saying, like, your answers lie within you, and if you just got to the root problem and stopped seeking so much stuff outside yourself, imagine how much our lives could change. And you guys know that, like, I obviously talk about this shit. Like, yes, your answers lie within, but sometimes I have a hard fucking time seeing that for myself, like, I'm so stubborn and hard-headed, and sometimes I feel like I do want someone to save me or like have my answers for me. And as much as like I've worked on myself this year, I have also realized how much I store in my body, and it's very subconscious for me. I think consciously I'm always like, no, I'm good. Like, I've been working on myself. I worked on that belief. Like, how many times do I have to work on it? Like, I'm good. Like, I feel my feelings. I tell other people to feel their feelings. I feel my feelings. And truly, like, I don't think I do. I really don't think I do fully. I've realized I'm really good at compartmentalizing, and what I've been going through here recently, I'm going to dive into it health-wise, but I truly feel like my body is in fight or flight. And I've been doing something called somatic exercises, and I've talked about that, and I love to do a whole episode on it. But it's about releasing trauma out of your body, because just because, I'm sorry, I can't talk. If you think that, you're over it, it doesn't mean that your body's not over it. Like, you can store it in your body. And I've talked about this, of course, a million times, like with Reiki and everything like that. It's important to release that trauma out of your body. So when I was doing my somatic exercise course, I got through the hip exercise. And I just realized, like, how much I actually have stored in my body. And I haven't gotten through the shoulder and the jaw exercises, but I just remember doing some of them and just bawling. I don't know where it came from. I know one day I just let out so much grief. I talk about it on one of my YouTube I want to say YouTube episodes YouTube videos of, I think it was like a daily routine, but I remember just feeling so much grief come out of me, and I just bawled. Like, I just let it out, and that is such a good release for your body. And I've just realized that with that whole somatic exercise stuff, and I'm probably still going through some of it, and I need to finish it. I was having dreams about stuff that, like, I haven't thought about in so fucking long. And I just realized, like, how much stuff I actually, like, still haven't fully healed from or, like, gotten over, even though I thought I had, or like stuff from high school that still really bothered me. I was dreaming about, and yeah, I think I got to a point this year where I realized, like, I'm tired of reaching outside myself for my own answers. And I think that's a huge thing to, like, really realize, because I feel like I'm very, very, very aware. I know that I am very aware. But as a very aware person, sometimes, it's hard to be like, oh, wait, I did miss that, Oh, yeah, like I am aware, but am I? To question yourself of like, did I actually get over this? Like, let's check myself real quick, because there's things that I'm not aware of, and I've realized a lot of it is subconscious. And we store a lot in our subconscious. And if you guys don't know about the subconscious, it's basically like the image of an iceberg. You see the top, but there's so much shit on the bottom. And I know, like, if you've taken any type of like self-development courses, they use that as an analogy. The subconscious is everything you don't see. It's what's playing over and over and over again. And it's not necessarily a conscious thought that we have. It's just a belief or feeling that might be stuck in our body. And unfortunately, that's what is our reality. It's what keeps playing over and over again. So if you feel like you're having the same year just in a different font or different flavor, maybe it's just time to like sit with yourself and ask yourself, why is this happening? And so that's what I've been doing. Like 2023, it was going okay. And it's not that it was a absolutely terrible year. It's just been like very up and down. Like I've been feeling like I'm taking huge strides forward, and then I'm taking huge strides back. It feels sometimes like I've come such a long way, and then at the same fucking time, I feel like I've taken so many steps backwards. And that's, life, that's growth. Like that's how, is what it is, Duality of everything is that there's good and there's bad. But let's just dive into kind of where I've been, because this will kind of make more sense and tie into everything. So I would say Scorpio season is when it all went downhill. You guys saw me in October, and then, for my birthday, we talked about some things I've learned in my last 26 years, and then Scorpio season happened. And I guess I didn't realize that they say whatever your like sister, not your sister signs. Is it your sister signs? Yeah, whatever your signs are like next to you are like seasons that you might have more issues with, which I never like put the two and two together. But so I'm a Libra, so it would be Virgo and Scorpio. And I have a lot of Virgo placements, so I don't really know if I find that to be difficult for me. And I guess I never have thought about Scorpio season, but Scorpio season is kind of about like the darkness, and I'm not saying that in a bad way, but it's just Scorpio has that rep for being mysterious and dark, and, it's kind of about going within. So it's kind of like the shadow, I guess. The literal first week or so of Scorpio season, like it just fucking hit me like a ton of bricks. A lot of old shit came up for me. A lot of shit, like trauma, childhood wounding, like just a lot of stuff started coming up for me. And it was triggered by something, of course, but I'm not going to dive into that. And I just really started to kind of go down a rabbit hole of like, I feel like I'm taking huge step backs mentally. I truly was convinced like I need to go to therapy. I need help. I'm not well. And you guys know that like I've always struggled with my mental health, but like when I had my spiritual awakening, I healed so much that I didn't really feel like I had depression anymore. But I always like went through these ups and downs where I would have this, and I always just kind of chalked it up to this spirituality stuff of like, oh, it's just a dark night of the soul. I'm just shedding skin. I'm just going through a lot, like, so I can, come more to the light and be the best version of myself and all that stuff. And that's all great. But I think that's why I think what I'm trying to say is sometimes the spiritual terms and all of that can be, I don't know. I don't want to say gaslighting. That's not the word. It can just be a cover up of what's actually going on, or like a physical issue, or maybe you're just really depressed, or, like there's other reasons of why you're feeling the way you're feeling. It's not always ascension symptoms and yada, yada, yada. So during a lot of like my spiritual psychic stuff that I did with training, my apprenticeship, I had a lot of those, and it was always around my period, right? So then I started to believe, because when I was like, okay, I need help, I was like, maybe I have PMDD, because I was noticing I was getting really, really down around my periods. And my mom said at some point her doctor had said that she thought she had PMDD. And I was having these issues where, like, if I wasn't depressed, I was anxious and also not feeling anything at all. Like, I remember quite a few periods I had where I just had no emotion. Like, I was just, I don't know, dead to the world almost. It was just like, I'm just here. I don't want to talk. I would go through these like periods where I just wouldn't talk to anybody. And then eventually, like, I would get out of my shell. So with all this coming up, I looked into getting a therapist, because, like, I don't want to say I don't believe, in getting help, but for me, it's just always been like a hard thing for me to do, is what I'm trying to say. I've always had an issue with asking for help. I think that's one of my toxic traits. I literally just saw a podcast, or not a podcast, it was a TikTok talking about whatever your love language is, like the opposite of that. And like, if you put others before you and you love like showing people and like words of affirmation, stuff like that, like the opposite would be your toxic trait is to not ask for help. And that's just something that's always been ingrained in me, is just not to ask for help. I've always been like the suffer in silence type, and it's just been something that, like I said, I've always had issues with. And being vulnerable, I've talked about this. And in the past, when I've went to therapy, it's not been a great experience. It's just not really been helpful. There was one woman, like I said, that really did help me. I know I've talked about her in some episode, but she did say something where I did feel like validated and seen. But other than that, like, it was just like every time I would go, it was like, okay, we're going to up your medication. We're going to up your medication. And I know that not all therapy is like that. I know there are people that do want to like help you and like get to the root cause of things. And I don't need someone to listen to me necessarily. I want someone to help me sort out my thoughts. And like where I was at a couple months ago, I very much was like, I can't do this on my own, which made me feel like, damn, I'm really taking a step back. And I know that's not the case. Okay. And I don't want anyone that is maybe trying to decide if they want to go get help to take this as a sign to not go get help. Okay. Everyone honestly should get a therapist. But for my stubborn ass, I always want to do everything the fucking hard way. And I want to figure shit out by myself. I don't want to ask for help. I don't want anyone to look at me a certain way if I tell them what's going on in my fucking brain. I know that my brain isn't always a normal place to be. Like, I know that there's so much going on in my fucking head, and my boyfriend, who doesn't, think the way I do and like process things the way I do, doesn't understand. I love him to death. He listens to everything I have to say, but I know when I'm like spiraling, and some people don't think the way I think, and some people don't have an issue with like how they process things. You know what I mean? Like, I will go to the worst of the worst. I will think about things over and over, and some people don't have that problem, and God bless them, because that's amazing. But what I'm trying to say is, like, I don't need someone to listen to me. I need someone to help me figure out why I am the way I am, and the way of like, how can I do things differently? How can I handle this differently? And this year I learned about my love language and like how I communicate with people. And I think there is some things that I definitely think I could get help with unpacking, because I've done a lot of like shadow work and a lot of healing work on myself. But I almost sometimes wish someone else could like just help me go through it. You know what I mean? Like, and I think it's a great thing to do. I know a lot of my courses that I've taken, they have always recommended to get a therapist. But like I've said, I've not had great experiences with it. So I'm like, I know all the information, and that's the thing, is that I feel like sometimes I know what you're going to tell me to do. I know how to help my anxiety. I know what to do. It's just about doing it. And I think sometimes I just need someone to help me understand some things, and not necessarily what I need to do. It's like, okay, is this a little bit of OCD? Is this ADHD? Like, I guess sometimes it's nice to just have that label to something to help you figure out why you are the way you are. So, moral of the story with this is that I was just really going through it, like really down. And it made me feel like, damn, I feel like I've made so much progress on my mental health. And here I am, like, it's just a scary fucking feeling. And this was, a while ago, so I'm not feeling as bad with the depression, but like, I just remember feeling like that one of my biggest fears is I'm going to be where I was mentally like years ago. And I almost sometimes feel like, yes, I have conquered the so-called depression that I had, and I've conquered the darkness, but it's always right there, and I think I just was like really going through it, because I'm going to tell you like what I've done to help with that. So it's just a really scary feeling to think that, oh my God, like, am I going to get to the point where like where I didn't want to like do life anymore? And yeah, it's a scary place to be, thinking like I'm gonna lose my fucking shit, like I'm losing myself. Yeah, I don't know how else to describe this other than like, it's just terrifying to feel like you're taking huge step back, and like to feel like you're going to a place where you don't know if you're gonna come out of. And I think that thought by itself was what was making me spiral. Like, I truly don't think I ever will be that low in my life, but I was just to the point where I was like, I don't understand like why I feel so hopeless. Why does everything seem terrible? And I was feeling so negative, absolutely so fucking negative. Like, everything was just really weighing on me. Like, work was weighing on me. The energy at work was weighing on me. Just everything was weighing on me. Money, I just felt it and it was so heavy. I remember feeling, it was like the end of October. I just remember feeling so fucking heavy, so heavy. Like I felt the weight of the world on my fucking shoulders. And I did look into getting a therapist. There was one that I wanted to go to. It was kind of like a godly based one, which like I really didn't know how to feel about that, because I'm also kind of working through that too. Like I've been going through a lot of different changes, y'all. Like I don't know if I'm having like an identity crisis as well. You're probably like, God, this bitch is crazy. But like, I've been going back and forth with like, spirituality, my beliefs about it. And it's just, we're not going to dive into all of that. But like, I've noticed like this year was like me getting back to being a muggle, like the end of 2022 was like me becoming a muggle again, just being human and being grounded into this fucking physical plane and not being so woo woo. And it's crazy because this whole podcast kind of started off like my intentions were to talk really woo woo. And I know that there are people in my, community and people I know that are very woo woo. And I want to help be that outlet for them because I know that this is very like taboo. But I don't really know where I stand with some of it anymore. Like, I don't know. I've always believed in God and Jesus, and like I think that anything you do can be too much, and I think it's to find a balance. And I think at some point like I had like maybe some religious trauma of like, oh, like I hate the just the church community and everything, and like now it's like, I don't know. I don't feel that way anymore. I don't feel like it has to be this way or that way. And I have found that like, it's everything. It's all, it's one. And I don't have resentment towards, religious beliefs. I wish people wouldn't interpret things the way they do or make you feel bad about what you do. And I don't like a lot of that aspect of it, but like I just see all of it, and I'm starting to kind of, I don't know, I'm really praying more. And I'm not saying I'm not woo woo, because I am, but like not to the point where I was when I started this podcast. And when I started this podcast, I was in the middle of my apprenticeship, and I was getting, very ungrounded, and there's just a lot of like trauma I have with that also made me kind of run away from that. And I would love to like have this podcast be like things that I know of the spiritual world, because I know it's taboo. And like I said, I want to be that information or guide for people, but like, I don't want that for my podcast. I don't want my podcast to be me teaching. And I know I've talked about this, but like, I kind of been thinking about doing a whole rebrand. It's not that I don't want to be spirituality, be whatever. It's just, I want to be me, and whatever that is for you, like I want to be that for you. It's just, I want to be me. I don't want to be a teacher. And I think at some point in my life, I was wanting that. I was wanting to be a teacher. I was cool with it. I wanted to teach people what I knew. I wanted to teach people about psychic tools and their spiritual unknowns. And I can still do that. I can still talk about it, but that's just not where I'm at in my life anymore. It's not who I am. I'm not, I'm not that deep into it anymore. It's just not where I'm at in my life. I've learned a lot, and I love to like be that person of experience to just tell you like things I've learned, but I don't want my podcast to be like you come to me and I give you information. I want it to just be me. We're friends. Let's talk. Hopefully you can relate, maybe take something from this, but I want this to be me. I want this to be my life, my experiences. I don't want to be themed. I don't want to be put in a box. I'm never like that. And I think that's why I've never probably grown very well on YouTube and stuff like that, because I don't want to just, on YouTube, I used to talk about just makeup, and I don't want to talk about just makeup. There's more to me than just makeup. Just like there's more to me than just spirituality. And as much as I would love to say, hey, yeah, you can do this on a full moon, and you could do this on a new moon, and this is how I manifest. And maybe I will do, I'm not saying I'm not going to do content like that at all, but like, that's not where I'm at anymore. I'm not this like spiritual hippie woo woo person that I used to be. And honestly, I felt like it was never really me. Like, I feel like me not dressing up, but like, I went through this phase where like all my clothes was like tie-dye, hippie, boho, and I never really felt like it was fully me. And I just feel like almost imposter syndrome, and I have that a lot, but like I've been really trying to dive deep into what I like to wear, and I love dark shit. Like I know this sounds like weird, but I mean, like I love like alternative type of like outfits. I love the leather and the black, but I also am like so Barbie girl. Like I am whoever I want to be, you know what I mean? Like I've been really diving into that because I used to love dressing up growing up in high school. Like it was my thing, and I got away from it, but like I love the alternative like style. I love it. I love the music. I love rock. Like I've been really trying to get back to me, like who I am at the core. But I also love being a little Barbie girl and fucking wearing a bunch of pink. And I think you can be both, but I think like for me, the spirituality stuff was never really, really me. I think it was just kind of like where I was in my life, and that's just how like I express myself. And it's sad to say, but I'm not even really into crystals as much as I used to be. And I remember like I was going through all of this in the beginning of the year. Like I decided I was going to take a break from Reiki, and that was really hard for me. I know I talked about like identity and grief and like removing old identities. I know I have like older podcasts on this, but like I really went through that of like trying to tell myself like it's okay to let this go, and really just close that chapter of my life. Because I was like, well, if I'm not a Reiki master, who am I? If I'm not doing Reiki and the spiritual person, like who am I? And so I feel like this was a very like identifying year for me to like figure out who I really am. And yeah, I had to let that go. And with all of that, I just had to figure out like, okay, like, is this really me? Or is it just kind of who I've been? And who I've been is this spiritual, let's, talk about psychic things, and let me help you on your path and be the guide for you, and let me tell you everything I know. But it was something I fully decided. I was like, this isn't really who I am. And it's been hard because I learned everything the hard way, and we're going to talk about it here in a minute. But I realized that like just a couple weeks ago, I started doing Reiki again. I told you guys, but it was like once a month or so. And my last client was in December, and it, my room got sold to somebody basically. And she's like, oh, like I'm going to be building another room for you to use. But it's like, oh, is this another sign that I'm just like not supposed to do this anymore? Like, let's finally close the chapter. And it still is kind of like hard for me to let go, but I think I just have a hard time seeing the small signs sometimes. But yeah, the beginning of this year, I was really going through like, this is not who I am. And I want to be just me on this podcast. I want this podcast to be my life, who I am. We can talk about lighthearted stuff. I don't want everything to be so fucking serious all the time. I want you guys to see that my fun side and like my goofy side, and like I'm not always fucking, perfect, and I can be a dick sometimes, like I am human, and I don't want it to just come across as like this is my platform where I talk about spirituality and everything that I can help you with. Like, I'm not even sure if I want the intro anymore. I'm not sure if I should even keep my intro podcast, my intro video, because where I'm talking about, like, we're going to talk about spirituality and all this, because as much as like, I still feel alone in a lot of that. I still feel alone in a lot of the spirituality and self-development type of stuff. And like, this podcast is going to stay around self-development because that's basically my life. But the spiritual woo-woo stuff, I'm not sure. And I just don't want to be a teacher. I just don't want that. So hopefully you guys like understand what I'm trying to say. I want this podcast to be more fun. And I just don't want to be so fucking serious. And like, yeah, I want to help, of course. Like, I want to like let you guys know what I've been going through so you guys don't have to go through it, like, for sure. But like, why not tell some stories on here and have some fun, So that's just where I've been making a lot of changes and just realizing, like, is this what I want to do? And just finally closing chapters I feel like that need to be closed. And so I appreciate you guys for just like being with me. But with all of that, I've had to, really realize that, am I doing things for myself, or am I doing things because I want to please people? And something that was difficult for me when I was going through all of this, and I made a TikTok about it, is that I feel like sometimes if I don't have advice to give or something to give someone, they don't want to be around me. And it was coming, more towards like my podcast or making content. Like, I was talking about how I feel like if I am not giving someone some type of value in my content or what I'm posting or what I'm talking about on, the podcast, people don't want to tune in. People don't want to subscribe. People don't want to follow. And I know that that is a deeper trauma. That's a deeper issue within myself, because I know in the past I have felt that way about friends, and I have felt that way mostly about friends, but like, I was always the friend that people would come to for advice. Or like, I had friends that anytime they were going through hard ass shit, like, that's when they would become really close with me. Like, if their guy that they were with was breaking their heart and their other friends were like disowning them, they would come to me because I would be there for them and I'd listen to them. And like, I had a best friend that literally we were the closest when she was going through shit, and it was because like I was there for her. And so I know that that might be like just some trauma of my own, that I feel like I'm only good enough if I'm giving something of myself to someone. And I've been trying to work on that. And I think that's also why I feel that way with my content. Like, I feel like if I was to just sit here and tell you guys a funny ass story or some weird, wild fucking shit that I did when I was like 19, or like the years of me fucking partying and like being crazy. I used to be fucking crazy. I mean, not crazy, but like, I used to be wild as fuck. And we're going to talk about that too, because this is all going to tie in, I promise. But I feel like if I was just to say like, hey, this is what I like and this is what I don't like this is my red flags, like, this is how I feel about so and so, like, these are my opinions, people don't give a fuck because I'm not providing value, you know what I mean? So that's also a reason I wasn't posting. But anyways, let's get back to what I was talking about with, feeling like I need to go see a therapist. Because I know I trailed because of the whole religious thing. Well, I decided I was going to go there, made the call, and the person I wanted to go to was not taking any new clients, and no one was really taking any new clients except for like 2 people. Long story short, they're just doing telehealth, and it was like every Tuesday at 1 p.m. And I'm like, I can't do that because I work. So that, and I don't have insurance right now. I'm trying to figure that out. I don't know what I'm going to do with that, and therapy's fucking expensive. And that's truly one of the reasons I've never went and got it over the last few years, just because I know it's expensive. And even when I did have insurance, like, it's still expensive. Even when I had insurance, the one woman I went to was like $150 every single time. So if you're going every week, like, fuck, that's crazy. So I'm not ruling it out. Like, me and my friend actually been like both wanting to go to therapy, and I've been kind of like, hey, you let me know if you find someone, and vice versa. I thought about trying like BetterHelp. I don't know, that seems like the best way to go. I don't know, because I have this thing where it's just so fucking stupid. I just have like trust issues, and sometimes I'm like, I don't really know if I want someone knowing all of my like secrets, I guess. Not even secrets, but like, I just don't know if I want someone knowing all my business. And I don't know, I have this thing where like, I want to protect the people I love, and like, I don't want people to get their own opinions and their own judgment of me or my family. And it's like, even if I don't know them, like, they're gonna judge, and I know that's like not their job. Like, their job is to not judge, but like, everyone judges. Everyone's going to have their opinion, I'm sure, they might think I'm crazy. I don't know. But anyways, I don't want to go to somewhere local. I don't want me to ever have to run into my therapist. I don't want them to know like who my family, like, I'm weird. So I always try to look for someone like at least 30 minutes away. So maybe BetterHelp will be good for me. I don't know. But at this time, I have not found anyone, and I'm not actively looking. I feel like I'm okay. So I messaged my holistic doctor, and I was like, hey, I've been like really depressed, anxious, don't know what the fuck's going on. I feel like I might have PMDD. So she calls me, we talk on the phone. She's like, hey, like, you haven't been taking a B vitamin the last couple months. I told you didn't have to take it anymore. But in the past, you were really low on B vitamin. So honestly, I think that's what it was. I started taking B vitamin again. So like, this is just, I don't know, a sign maybe for you that you being low on vitamins can really fuck with you. I know a friend right now that he's going through some stuff, and he was low B vitamin. And my mom's doctor actually said, just for a story, she had a client or a patient who he was about to be put in a nursing home. His dementia was so bad, like, he was completely not himself, brain fog, all this stuff. He was just really low on B vitamin. And then when they gave him B vitamin, he was like back to normal, back to himself. Like he was so bad to the point where he was forgetting stuff. And so that's just a little, story for you if you need to maybe like go get some testing done. But I do feel like the depression part got a lot better. So I was doing okay, until a month ago. And I truly can't believe it's been 50 minutes already, and I'm just now getting to like the juicy shit. So it's really not that juicy. It's just really what's been going the fuck on with me. I went out the night before Thanksgiving, and everything went downhill since. Truly, truly, truly. And if you don't know, the night before Thanksgiving is the night where basically it's like a high school reunion at the bar for most people, not just like in my town, but like everywhere. It's just this thing that people do. And mostly because when you're like younger and you're still in college, like everyone's home from college and they're going out to the local bar and you see everyone, whatever. I never went until like 3 years ago. Like we were pretty much like at the ends of college for us to even like do this. So, I mean, I was done with college. I graduated in 2018 because I only got associates. Anyways, it's dumb every year. Dumb every year. It's never like people you actually see from college. It's just like the same people you see in your hometown that go to the bar. It's literally dumb. I've never had fun any year. It truly. And you're like, well, why are you still going out? I have really bad time like with peer pressure, I guess. And my friend just always is like, we're going. And this year, I seriously was like, I'm not going. Like all week, not going. Unfortunately, everyone I work with pretty much goes out to the bars. Like pretty often. And everyone was like, you're going. And which I fucking hate. Because I'm like, respect that I said no. They're all like, you're going. And honestly, if I would have been scheduled that night, I might have not went. Because, well, last year I was scheduled at work and I went. But I was off Wednesday. So I was like, well, fuck it. But I truly, like, I had this feeling, like, not to go. And I was not looking forward to it. Even the year before, I got in a car accident. Like, nothing crazy. It was in my neighborhood, but someone hit me. And I still went out because my friend was like, oh, you still like, which is insane. I should have literally was like, no, I just got in a fucking car accident. Anyways, so I intuitively felt like I shouldn't go. And that is the fucking biggest flag that I ignored. Okay. Biggest fucking flag. Going against your intuition, your gut feeling is always the worst thing you can do, especially me, because I know damn well, I know better. And I literally was like, why am I doing this? But I was like, man, everyone's like talking me into going and like wanting, and that's my own fucking doing. It's not their fault. I should just stand my guard and say no and just fucking, that's it, you know, like, but I have FOMO really bad, and I was just like, okay, like we go every year, I guess I'll go. So I'm literally getting ready, and let's just say I had way too much to drink. Okay. I thought I was going to be saving myself money by buying myself a bottle, and I did save myself money. I did. But let's just say I drank a lot. I had probably like 4 to 5 drinks before I left. And I really didn't think I drank that much at the bar. I thought I had only paid for 1 drink. I don't know how. People were saying I had other drinks. Basically, I had blackout moments. I don't remember a lot of it. And this is just, it's called rookie night for some people. And it was truly like, I'm 26 years old. I know damn well to mix shit. And I think really what went wrong is I know the bartender, and I told him to make me whatever he wanted. So God only knows what was in that fucking drink. I can't remember what it was. Some people said it was gummy bear. Some people said it was Sour Patch. I don't know what the fuck it was. It was dark purple. I dropped it, and I remember me and my friend went and got another one. We all got really trashed this night. I don't understand. And truly, like, can I just also paint the picture for you guys? Like, I don't drink that often. I truly, truly don't. Maybe once every few months. And I usually can keep it under control, you know? But I'm also the type that's like, when I like to drink, I like to drink. It runs in my family. It is what it is. Okay. I hate to say that I have an addictive personality, but I do. I've always been that way. Whatever I did it 100%. Okay. Like I have this part of myself that's like, it's 0 to 100. It's 0 to Motley Crue. Like that's just who I am. And I'm not proud of it. But there's a part of me that kind of loves that part of myself because it is the wild, like fun version of me. And it doesn't come out that often. So that's just how I am. But I truly am like, I'm not an alcoholic. I truly don't drink that often, if ever. Like I drink once every, like I said, few months or a special occasion. This night, I've not drank this much in a long fucking time, okay? Don't know what came over me. If you guys want to get into the spiritual aspects of shit, I've heard my teacher talk about how, like, alcohol can burns your aura. And if you want to talk about, like, you can get attachments, like, when you're drinking, you're way more vulnerable. I've seen it in clients that have, that go out drinking and they have attachments to them. That's why sometimes, people act differently when they're drinking. Not an excuse whatsoever, but like you're leaving your body. So I don't know. I don't remember a lot of this night. Of course, people fill me in at work. And at one point I was chugging tequila. We were outside the whole night. I don't know why it was fucking freezing. I think it was because, everyone from work came and a lot of the cooks were like smoking cigarettes, and I think we were just out there chilling with them, and someone had a bottle of tequila and I guess I was chugging it. And then I do remember coming to, because I was puking that night, and my boyfriend was like, did you drink tequila? And I was like, no, I didn't drink tequila. And then when someone told me I did, that's when it all came to. And I had a little bit of wine, like a couple sips of wine. This literally fucking stupid. Okay, fucking dumb. Okay, so I don't even know why people decide this is a night to go out, because who wants to be fucking hungover on Thanksgiving? I don't get that. And I never, all the years I went out, I never was like hungover on Thanksgiving, though. It was rough. It was rough this year. I felt terrible, nauseated, lightheaded, whatever. But I also felt this like UTI feeling. And if you guys don't know, like I have always struggled with UTIs. Like if I drink too much caffeine or carbonated drinks, I can have a UTI symptom. So that's where it all started. And so ever since then, not been feeling well. I was like cheating with like what I was eating. Obviously, I ate some dairy and some gluten that weekend, and I honestly kind of went off the rails because I was like, okay, I'm cheating. I'm going to eat and drink whatever, eat whatever I want. I still try not to drink soda. I have not had pop for over a year and a half. But on Thanksgiving, my dad went and got us McDonald's in the morning because I was so fucking hungover. And I did take a sip of Coke because that was my weakness. Coke from McDonald's. And I remember just thinking of how syrupy it was, and it was really not that good. But come Monday, I don't know what happened, y'all. Okay, because TMI, very TMI, but like I got Starbucks and Chipotle, and I don't know, sometimes that can hurt my stomach, but my stools have not been very solid. Okay, so I ate shrimp on like that Sunday night, and instantly like I was going to the bathroom, and then I just started feeling terrible, like, just cold sweats, waking up, anxiety, feeling like I'm going to pass out. And this has happened before in the past. And I was like, oh, I think I'm dehydrated. Something's going on. I just felt like I wasn't there. Like I just felt terrible, lightheaded. It almost feels like low blood sugar. But like my blood pressure was okay, whatever. So I went to work that Thursday And I just remember being like, I have to leave. Like, I feel like I'm going to fucking pass out. I was making mistakes. Like, I took the drinks to the wrong table. Just shit like that. So, Wednesday. Let me backtrack. That Wednesday before, I went and got an IV from, like, we have a lounge where you can go get IV therapy. So I got that and I felt better. So I was like, okay, cool. But I still was feeling kind of shitty still. So I went to the urgent care because I not want to go to the ER. Went to the urgent care. I thought maybe I had a UTI or something. Usually, you know me, if you follow me on TikTok, I usually cure my own UTIs. I don't ever go and like actually get it taken care of, which is not the best advice. But everything came back fine. They're like, I wasn't eating too. This is a huge thing. Was not eating. Was barely drinking any water. Like, I felt nauseated every time I was eating something. And truly, like, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't the bar. Maybe it was something I ate. Maybe it was like the shrimp. I don't know. But I just remember, like, I felt terrible. And they just said, oh, it's probably because you're just not eating. I did like a blood panel. Everything was fine. Urine came back fine. Did a urine analysis. Was not pregnant. Okay? Not pregnant. So still felt like shit. Like I said, went to work. Then the next day I'm like, I wake up and my heart is racing out of my chest. Like, my heart rate was so fucking high. And granted, I have anxiety. Okay? I know what anxiety entails. I know that it can make shit feel worse than it actually is. But I literally was like, I feel like I'm fucking dying. So I go to the ER, and it was like 7 a.m. by the way. I was there all fucking day. I was there till probably 4 o'clock. And I had to call off work because I, was not out of there. And I almost, everything was fine. But like when they did my vitals for my blood pressure got really, really fucking low. It was like 60/40 or something like that. So I got tested for everything you could think of: viruses, COVID, flu, another urine analysis, heart rate, all that stuff, EKG, everything was fine. They just chalked it up to say, okay, you're just dehydrated, which honestly, I probably was. I know I was barely drinking. So, and I didn't really realize also that just because you drink a lot of water, if you don't have enough electrolytes in your water, enough minerals, does not mean you're hydrated. So, I was feeling good after the ER. Okay. Started feeling more like myself. Still had massive anxiety because I wasn't eating. And you need nutrients. I was lacking nutrients. So once I started eating, I started feeling like myself again. Just really bad anxiety, y'all. My anxiety's been off the fucking rails. Like, I feel like, so why this is bad is because if you guys have been listening to any of my episodes or anything like that, my anxiety was really, really bad in 2020. And it started, which is fucking crazy, because this is what I'm saying. Shit is happening, but in different fucking fonts. Okay, this all happened in November, right? And in 2019, in November, same shit. I had Chipotle. I don't know if it was like food poisoning. I was just going to the bathroom a lot. Had diarrhea. And ended up in the ER. They said I was really fucking dehydrated. So I don't know. I guess my body just has a hard time keeping, nutrients in me. But that triggered in 2019 really bad anxiety for me, because I was like, oh my God, I'm going to fucking pass out when I'm driving. I'm going to pass out at work. Like, I'm going to fucking die. And so like that played into 2020 with like COVID and everything. One of my biggest triggers for my anxiety is my fucking health. And especially when I feel like I'm going to pass out and something's bad is going to happen to me. So anyways, that's why I was feeling really triggered again, because it was the same shit. And so maybe it's universe being like, okay, let's deal with this, Madison. Let's really get to the point of like why you feel so anxious about your health. And, it's hard. It's really hard for me because, like I said, my health, my family probably thinks I'm a hypochondriac, but like that's something that's like huge for me. Because the thing is I am very intuitive and I know when something's off. And so, I feel like my family probably thinks I'm a hypochondriac sometimes, but it's because I know something's not fucking right. And like, I know it's not just my anxiety, and it is really triggering sometimes when people are like, oh, it's just your anxiety. No, I don't think it is, but sometimes it is. It really is. So all of this was triggering, but I felt like I was getting back to myself, and I went back to my old ways, and I got Chipotle and Starbucks that weekend. And as much as I love Starbucks, if I don't have it for a while and it's not in my system, it fucks me up. I don't even drink coffee because coffee will fuck you up, but coffee gives me anxiety. But I can have the refreshers. Mango dragon fruit lemonade is like my go-to, and I was getting it every day. But since the whole like drinking thing in the ER, I didn't get it. So when I got it, really fucked up my stomach. I don't know why, but it makes me fucking shit. It does. So I already I've always had irritable bowel. And this was what was going on as well. But yeah, it sent me to the bathroom. So I think what happened is I got dehydrated again. Okay. So I go and get an IV therapy 2 weeks after the ER one. And by the way, they gave me 4 bags of saline at the ER. Like, it was obsessive. They left the fourth one up to me, but I was just like, okay, like, I guess, sure. Like, so I know there's a thing of like drowning. So I do a lot of like TikTok research as well, y'all. Like, that's my new thing, which I kind of hate. I discovered I'm like using TikTok as Google now, like my WebMD. And so there's a few things like I thought maybe it was before I went to the ER. I thought I had a kidney infection. I was like, well, not that. But yeah, so I go get another treatment, an IV treatment, and I started feeling better. Again. And before I went there, I actually got into my mom's doctor, who's more on the holistic side, but I do need a medical doctor. So she got me in and basically was like, I just want to see your ER results so I don't have to charge you again because I don't have insurance. And honestly, never heard back from that. Never heard back from her getting my ER results. But when I was there, she's like, your blood pressure's low. Like, you need more salt in your diet. So honestly, I think I was truly dehydrated again. So the IV therapies that I get have vitamins in it. So I think I still have not figured out what's going on, but around Christmas, I did eat some things I wasn't, supposed to eat. I had KFC mac and cheese. That fucked me up. So I took a binder, which is activated charcoal. If you guys suffer with irritable bowel or you take something that you shouldn't have taken, like poison or something, it actually is used for poison control. I'm not a doctor. Don't take my advice. Okay. But I'm just saying this is what I found on TikTok. And that helped me. But I started feeling like shit again. And it was a full moon on Christmas. I don't know if you guys knew that. It was like Christmas or the next day. So what I've kind of come up with is that, I've been talking to my holistic doctor through this too. And at first she was like, you need to make sure like you have, you're taking Celtic salt in your water. I've just been putting it in my mouth because I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Barbara O'Neill, but if you are into the holistic world, look her up. She's, I don't know if she's Australian or British. I don't know, but she has an accent. Anyways, she talks about like castor oil and stuff like that. And so I started doing that. I upped my potassium. I thought that was the issue because I've been kind of crampy. Honestly, I think that I might have a parasite, and we all have parasites. We all do. But sometimes they can, that my holistic doctors who put it in my mind, she was like, did you catch a parasite? Like, have you been traveling? I'm like, no, I've always had issues, and like maybe the issues before all this, like all my other health issues were linked to maybe a parasite. But I remember waking up one day from a dream, and I remember hearing like, you have a parasite, or like something along those lines, right? And I just ignored it. I was like, okay, whatever. But here's the thing. This is where I'm like, it's frustrating because I feel like intuitively this is what's going on. I've been doing a lot of fucking research. I talked to my aunt. Parasites can make you have fucking wild ass symptoms. They can make you feel like you're passing out. My heart rate's been getting high for no reason, not even when I'm anxious, okay? It can cause that. It can cause, God, a fuck ton of shit. Migraines, headaches, like, vision blurred, like, bad. Oh, I've not been sleeping. That's why I can't even think straight. Since this night of going out and drinking. And by the way, I was just like, okay, I probably just like spiked all my levels from drinking. I already have like high adrenal levels. That's what my holistic doctors always been helping me with. I have a issue detoxing. Like my body it's always been a thing. Last year, 2022, I did a detox. I lost like 13 pounds from it. Like so much stuff came out on my skin. I know my body has a hard time detoxing. And that's always been my issue with my hormones, is that I produce enough, but I don't detox the excess out very well. So I know that. And when you drink alcohol, you spike your cortisol levels. So I've never talked about this, I don't think, on my podcast, but like this year's the first year that I've ever experienced anxiety. And not in the sense of like, I've always had that anxiety of like, oh my God, what I say, what I do, I'm embarrassed. But no, like this year's the first year that I've had actual like panic attack, anxiety attack the next day or so after drinking out of fucking nowhere. Okay. I remember like, maybe in September or so, like I didn't even drink that much the night before. I really didn't. I had like a few drinks, and I had like a panic attack the next day, and I did not know it was a thing until Alex Earl talked about it. And by the way, like people saying that she's alcoholic and crazy, whatever, like you would think the same thing about me if I told you some of the shit that I used to do when I was like 19 or 20 or 21. Like, calm down. Anyways, but yeah, I have not been sleeping. I've been waking up in the middle of the night, which like this actually started happening even before the drinking thing. And it's just difficult because I like bought a workout program and I was going to the gym and I was doing so well up until I went out. And I literally like told someone at the gym, like, oh, like I don't want to go out. Like I'd like to come in and go to the gym on Thanksgiving. That did not happen. But the waking up at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. with anxiety started happening before this. Okay. But like now, like almost every night I don't get sleep. I wake up early morning, either to go to the bathroom or just I wake up and I don't really get much sleep. And I know that like that is in itself like so damaging for everything. And I was talking to one of my customers that always comes in, and he was like, that sounds like stress, like you waking up in the middle of the night. And today he was like, you know, once you eliminate some of the stressors in your life, I was like, I don't think it's stress. And then I'm like, oh, maybe it is. I do have a lot of dreams where like, for me, I know it's like overwhelm, and it's like, there's always one dream that I have where water is like flooding wherever I'm at. And I know that like water is usually a sign of like overwhelm. So yeah, I know that it's probably stress, and I think a lot of it is subconscious for me. Like I said, a lot of stuff started coming up when I started doing the somatic exercises and stuff. But I'm like, well, damn, like, what is the stress in my life? Like my job? Let me get rid of that real quick. Like, I don't know. So there's stuff that like I need to like deal with and try to figure that out. Because like I said, I don't understand why that was happening. But now maybe it's the stress of like, I think something's wrong with me health wise. But I'm also thinking parasite. Okay. Parasites can wake you up in the middle of the night. That's when they're like most active. They're most active around a full moon. I have some days really dark circles underneath my eyes, and I woke up literally, I think it was on Christmas, like the day of the full moon energy. I had a dream. It was so fucking vivid, so vivid. And maybe TMI, but like I had parasites coming out of me, like coming out of my skin, and I was holding them, and I was trying to get them like flushed down the drain, and they were growing. And it's crazy because I have a friend who we went through the same program, like psychic program together, or psychic training. And, you know, she's very holistic and she lives across country. We've never met, but I love her so much. And she was talking about how spiritually, like how you can be so in tune with like knowing you have parasites. Like she's like, I can hear them screaming sometimes. And it's crazy, the weird spiritual woo-woo aspect of it. Here we are. Like I can talk about woo-woo stuff still. People say how like they're almost like demons in a way. Like they hold on to emotions, like emotionally, like when you detox them, they like, you might remember some trauma, and like it's crazy what they can do. Like dark circles under your eyes, that's a symptom too. And I think what I'm trying to say is that regardless if that's what it is or not, I did buy a parasite cleanse, and I will do like a whole episode on it. I'm definitely going to talk about it on my TikTok, but it's a Parafy kit. It's from Rogers Hood. My aunt told me about it, and I've been doing a lot of research, and they have a lot of reviews. And honestly, anyone can benefit from a parasite cleanse. And most countries do, like, it's like mandatory to do like at least 1 or 2 a year. I don't know if it's like mandatory, but like it's a thing. Not in America though, or probably Canada. But yeah, I heard the Amish do it a lot too. And so I don't know, I've just been really like reading into it. And I think that is something that might be going on because once again, like yesterday, my anxiety was sky high. I think truly what's going on is I'm deficient in nutrients and vitamins, and parasites fucking take all your nutrients and your vitamins because I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know if the alcohol activated it or like I got it all of a sudden. I'm not sure. I really am not. I don't know if I got it from, could have very well fucking been the shrimp I ate. Truly, like I don't know. But it's like all of a sudden feel terrible. I've just really not been myself. It's been really hard. I think that yesterday I might have been deficient in zinc because that's my only thing is like I take vitamins every day. I stopped taking zinc, but the IV therapies have zinc in them. So I'm like, maybe that's it, you know? Like I got to keep pumping myself with vitamins because if these fucking parasites are taking them. But it's been difficult because like, you know, I think my holistic doctor's trying, but you know, she's just hard to communicate with. And, you know, she wanted me to get like nutrition, tested. And then she wanted me to, get like mold toxicity tests, which very well could be because mold, and metal detoxing and parasites all go hand in hand. So the kit that I bought is metal detox too, but I know that my holistic doctor was going to say something like, oh, I don't think you should do the parasite cleanse right now or whatever. And it's just frustrating because testing is so fucking expensive, especially if you're going the holistic route. And I just talked to her yesterday and she was like, okay, I still want you to get the mold toxicity, which I would like to get done, but she's like, feel like you should also get a stool because I feel like I'm not digesting anything, or not digesting. Obviously I'm digesting, but like I don't have normal, like I have normal bowel movements every day, but the stool is not normal. I know this is so TMI. So, but I know that there's someone out here that is going through the same fucking thing. And there's so many people that have gut issues. So like, let's talk about it, you know? So I don't know. I haven't decided if it's just everything's so expensive. Just like the 2 testings that she wants me to get done, it's like $700. And then she sent me, I buy all her supplements from her website, and like 3 bottles of something's like close to $200. So it's just like, it's just hard because on top of everything that's going on, you know, I had gotten a lot of my smaller credit cards paid down, and then Christmas came and I just got to the point where I'm like, Christmas kind of sucks. Like I am always been like the hugest Christmas, you know, fan. Like I love Christmas. But the last couple of years, like last year just didn't really feel like Christmas. Honestly, that's how it is getting older. But like this year really, really didn't feel like it. And maybe it's because, you know, my grandma was the ultimate like Christmas fan, like kept her Christmas trees up all the time, watched 57 Hallmark Christmas movies. Like that was my grandma. But it just, I've kind of, like I said, like been feeling really heavy. Like I've been getting back to myself, but like I was feeling really negative, and I'm like, maybe it was the parasite too. I don't know. Let's blame everything on the parasite. But I was just like over it. I was so over everything. I was ready for Christmas to be over. I was tired of spending money, and like that's my like way of showing that I love people is gift giving. I love gift giving, and I don't like being that person that's like, okay, like, you know, my whole family was like, we're coming back this year, it's fine, but like I don't want to get you just one gift. Like I want to get you a bunch of stuff. Like that's just who I am. Like I want to buy people stuff, so it's hard for me when I don't have the money. So, you know, logically I would just buy someone one thing, but no, I use credit cards. So it's just hard because I had a lot of those paid down, and then with Christmas I put it back on. So it's a bunch of stress and things going on in my life, and that's just like kind of where I've been at. So I'm just navigating of like what I want to do. Like, you know, my doctor was like, oh, you know, well, yeah, parasite cleanse can make your symptoms worse because the die-off symptoms, which I'm like, yeah, I know, like I done my research. Okay. Like she's like, oh, you need a binder. I'm like, yeah, it comes with the binder. Cause like a binder is like something like activated charcoal. It absorbs all the toxins and helps you release, because when you kill parasites, they die with whatever is in their system. So if you have a mold toxicity, or you have a lot of heavy metals in your system, they're going to die in your system. So I've been trying to prep my body for that. You know, you can't have sugar, which like I've been obviously having sugar. I just bought like gummy worms because I'm like, at this point, parasites, if you want some sugar, I'll give you some fucking sugar. Just leave me the fuck alone at this point. But so I bought castor oil. I'm doing castor oil packs. I'm gonna try to detox as best as I can. My lymph nodes were really swollen like last week. So I know I'm fighting something. Like, I don't know. It's just, there's so much information. Like my one doctor was like, oh, you know, there's been like a virus going around that's like not COVID, but like I'm thinking it's a sort of COVID. And then my holistic doctor looked at my ER stuff, and she was like, you know, it does seem like you had bacteria in your urine. I guess it wasn't that big of a deal, you know, for them to find anything that was like seriously wrong, but like you do have bacteria, and something about something else being low. So I did have like a sign of a virus. Like I am fighting something. I've been taking oil of oregano to help fight off, you know, bad bacteria. I'm just doing all I can. I'm pumping I've taken control because I can't wait on doctors and fucking test results. I can't do it anymore. Like I need results. I just need to take control, because no one else is going to do it for me, and I can't keep living like this. It's fucking debilitating. Some days are better than others. Obviously, I'm feeling like okay today for me to be on here, and I've been wanting to get on here, but like I just can't do it anymore. So I've been pumping myself with colloidal silver. That's a natural like antibiotic basically. Just trying to keep myself healthy. There's been flu going around. Like literally was talking to someone at Christmas for like an hour. And he ended up being really sick the next day. So like, I'm just trying to keep myself healthy, drinking lots of water. I bought minerals for my water. I'm keeping electrolytes in, I was drinking Pedialyte. Like I was doing all the things, and just trying to make sure I'm eating and having vitamins put in me. But yeah, so it's just, I don't have the answers. I just kind of wanted to let you guys know like what I've been dealing with, because my anxiety's been so fucking bad. Like, and I've been trying to follow my intuition. Like the other day I was like, hey, healing frequency music, let's put that on. And like, I literally felt my stomach moving. Like, that's why I feel like it is a parasite. And like, I just feel like intuitively, I know when something's wrong, and I feel like it's good to go with your gut, because I don't know. It's like, do I want to pay to get a stool testing for her to tell me I have a parasite? Like, why can't I just do the parasite cleanse? You know what I mean? Like, obviously I don't want to do too much, but I also just feel like I know me, and I know when there's not something right. And of course I have to learn things the hard way, unfortunately. Like, that's just who I am. Unfortunately, I hate saying that, because I don't want to keep like perpetuating that, but truly, I do learn shit the hard way. It is what it is. And I have come to conclusion through all of this is like, yeah, it takes me a long time for me to get the actual sign to like not do something or to make changes, unfortunately. Maybe my life wouldn't be so bad if I just like listened to the signs earlier or just paid more attention. I don't know. But that's just been what's going on. I have not been sleeping. And I don't know. I feel like that's kind of my next step right now. And what I'm going to do in the new year. I've not went to Starbucks. I've cut that out. And also what I want to do in the new year, what I want to do in the new year, which is hard for me to say because it's something I've been like going back and forth with for a long time now, like the last couple years probably, is to be sober, to quit drinking. And I like debated if I wanted to put that out there because like, I don't know if I want that pressure of like, hey, I'm not going to drink anymore. And then I don't know, what if I want to drink? And it's just, it's hard. It's a hard commitment. And I give anyone huge praise if you are totally sober. Like, that's awesome. I don't smoke. I don't do anything. Like, the only thing I would ever do is to drink occasionally. And with it being like, I have a hard time, letting go of things or like making those changes. I feel like God, universe really just has to like show me the hard way. I feel like everything in my life I've had to learn the hard way, mostly because of myself, and that's how I am. But it's like, that's how I finally get the fucking lesson, because I don't it's like the small shit isn't enough for me. I guess I have a high pain tolerance. I don't know. But I've been getting a lot of signs over the last couple years to quit drinking. And I know like what it does spiritually to you. I know that. But like, even I want to say in 2021, definitely 2021. I was, when I was drinking, I would get this knot in my leg, which I've had a superficial blood clot before. So that always would scare me because it was always in the same leg. Okay. And my calf, my right calf, I would get this knot when I would, And it didn't matter how much I drank. I could have a couple glasses of wine. I would have this knot in my leg. Well, it was so painful. Sometimes it would go away within like the next day or so, but like sometimes it was so bad, like I could barely walk. And I remember like putting it on Facebook because like some people were like, oh, that sounds like a blood clot. But I remember there was a nurse or something. She had said something about it depletes your potassium, or it depletes something, and like that's why that happens. But it's so abnormal. And I remember getting a massage, and like she was basically saying that it was like the muscle behind she gave me the actual like what muscles they were, but the muscle behind the other muscle was like flexed. And this was happening almost every time I was drinking. Like literally there'd be almost like a week of this, of where I literally I could not barely walk. Like that's how bad it was. Like that's how bad. And the sad part is like I have TikToks saved in my draft of me like thinking like, okay, this is like my last time drinking. Like I feel like I'm getting the signs to stop drinking. And I've just never listened to it. And like I've just had issues where I felt literally so bad after drinking. And I just always kept ignoring it because it's hard to do. Like everything is revolved around fucking drinking. I mean, almost every huge event, weddings, some people's graduations for college. I mean, not necessarily high school, but even high school. I mean, any celebration, alcohol, like it's actually fucking insane. Sporting events, any party, like y'all, after this last occasion of going out, I literally was like, I'm never drinking again. Okay, when's the next time that I'm going to have to be around alcohol? And I was like, fuck. We were supposed to go to, for one of our gift exchanges to a Mexican restaurant where we always would get margaritas. And like I said, just sometimes I don't know my limit. Okay. Like sometimes I'm not very good at that because I'm not really a casual drinker. Like sometimes I'm like, I feel like I just don't know when enough is enough. And like, I just don't see the point in like having a drink, like I want to buzz at least. And yeah, I guess that's my own issue with it. But it's like, I've feel terrible, and I have always. And I was like, oh my God, our Christmas party's next week, and I'm actually not going. And I don't want to be one of those people, and there's other reasons I'm not going, but like, it's also like an hour and a half away. I don't know why they did that, but it was like this really cool place where like there's games and like pinballs and stuff like that, but it's basically a bar. It's a bar where you can play like adult games. Like, I don't know. It was like weird bowling, but not actual bowling, and like pinball machines. And I'm like, that sounds fun and everything, but like, it only really sounds fun if you're drinking. And I don't want to be that person that's like, oh, I can't have a good time unless I'm drunk or drinking or whatever. Because I can, but like also there's other reasons I don't really want to go. And I'm like, pinball machines are fun and all, but like I don't really want to drive all the way to do that for like 5 minutes and get bored. You know what I mean? So there's other reasons, but like I truly don't have a desire to drink anymore. And I'm not saying that I'm never, ever, ever, ever gonna drink again. I don't want to like put that out there and like seal it, I'm at least gonna try to wait for vacation. We usually go on vacation in the summer. I do like to drink on vacation. I like to have some margaritas on the beach. But even then, I mean, maybe I won't. But like, I truly like, and I know that it's going to be difficult because like some of my friendships, like that's what we do on our birthdays. And I did go through a phase where my friend kind of stopped asking me to like go out and do things because she knew like I wasn't really drinking, and I don't really drink. But I guess like when we all started working together, it's just, that's all like a lot of my coworkers do. And I have that side of myself. And I think that's why it's always been like difficult for me to like make that decision also, because before my spiritual awakening, and maybe I'll have like a whole episode talking about it, but I was wild. Like I used to party all day long. Like I used to, party till the sun came up and do it all over again the next day. And like, I'm not saying like I missed that at all, but it was hard because I did like literally like a 180 in my life. Like that's where I was in life, and then like I realized the path I was going down was not the path I wanted to go down, and I had this like spiritual awakening and did all this healing on myself to the point where I was like completely opposite, like never left the house and never really went and drank, and it was a complete 180, and I had to mourn that side of myself, that wild fun, quotation fun, because I'm still fun, but like I had to mourn that side of myself. And it's always kind of been difficult because like, I don't know, I guess like being wild is almost like glamorized, in our society, online. Like it is like Motley Crue, for example, like they're just known to be fucking wild, and like I have a part of me that is that. And so I guess like why I felt like it was such a hard time for me to like let go of that version of myself was because it was like I have to let go of that wild fun version of myself. And like that's why I also feel like it's hard for me to say like I'm never gonna drink again, because I feel like I'm losing that like wild fucking version of myself. But I'm trying to think of like, how can I be that version of myself without having to have substance and I'm sorry, I can't speak. I've been talking too long, but how can I be that wild and fun version of myself without having to like drink? And like I said, like I used to do everything like hardcore. Like if I was drinking, I was drinking. If I was smoking, we were smoking like, fucking 4 blunts in one sitting. Like it was just, that's just who I was. And that's not who I am now. But like to go from that version of myself to completely like spiritual zen, not leaving the house, not doing anything, you need to have a balance. And so like I did feel like I found the balance of like, okay, I go out every so often, but like not go as hard and not drink as as much. And I'm getting older, so I think my body's also just like, fucking stop, like please, like stop doing this to me, stop poisoning myself, like that. But like I said, there is a part of me that's like, it's in my genes, like just to be like wild and party girl, whatever. But yeah, it's hard to like finally like let that go. But I feel like this is another lesson for me to be like, okay, we had signs for you, bitch. You didn't fucking listen. Now you're gonna feel like dog shit. And maybe it had truly nothing to do with the drinking. Truly, maybe I'm sure it had something to do with it, though. I think my body was like, whoa, SOS, what the fuck? We can't process this. Then you're adding other shit like dairy and gluten, can't process this. And maybe it was like something I ate. I don't know. But like either way, I just really feel like, okay, this was the lesson of like, let's put this to rest for a while. At least for like maybe once a year. Let's try that. I don't know. We're going to see. I'm going to truly try at least till like vacation, if we even go on vacation. If not, let's ride this shit out. Like I don't know. There's a fucking margarita in South Carolina that I just, it was one of the best margaritas ever. It was at it was called Fillets. It's like a fish. It was like it's not a bar, but it is. There's like a bar and they're seating outside. I don't know. They have a fucking bomb ass margarita. Like I dream about it. So I don't know. And there's times where, especially this year, like drinking does kind of like, there's been times where, you know, people say it opens them up more in a spiritual aspect, but like there has been times where I've, you know, been a little buzzed and like I've gotten like really good downloads of like, this is what you need to do next. Like when we were at the Adam Sandler concert this year, which was great, by the way. I remember having this like, I don't know, epiphany, like, you need to get it together while I was drinking. Like, not necessarily stop drinking, but I was like, you need to stop spending money like on your nails and all this other bullshit that doesn't fucking matter, and spend money on what does matter. And like, I had this like connection with God and self, you know, and I don't think it has to be a bad thing, but I just feel like where I'm at in life, it's just not beneficial whatsoever. Like I said, the anxiety started this year too, and my anxiety was so fucking bad after Thanksgiving. I'm not kidding. Like I could not take it. And I remember thinking like, if this is what comes with drinking, I don't want any fucking part of it. I mean, I was sobbing. I have like TikTok saved in my draft where I'm just like sobbing of like, I can't fucking do this. I feel like I'm losing my fucking mind. Like I literally can't function. And that's a reminder for me as well, you know, because like, you know, we always say we're never drinking again, and then we forget how it feels, and then we drink again, and then it's just like this vicious cycle. And yeah, I that's one of the biggest ones for me too. And I think it's just really like one of those fucking lessons for me, you know, just with like Reiki and everything. Like I feel like I've always had to have shit blow up in my fucking face for me to get the fucking memo, for me to get the lesson. You know, I've had shit blow up in my face with Reiki and just shit just not working out. And it's like, okay, how many times do I have to keep fucking doing this for me to understand that it's not meant to work out? And like, that was God's plan. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just feel like I've had too many signs. Literally, I just watched the TikTok I have in my draft talking about it. And yeah, same thing. There's been so many times where I drink and I'm so depressed afterwards. And I remember last year I got some blood work done now, and like a week or so later after I drank, and my liver enzymes were still so high. So like, I know my body just can't handle it, and I'm getting to that age. Like, it's just not cool. It's not fun anymore. Drinking and going out truly is not fun. I never, like, very rarely, like, I went out for my birthday and I had fun and I didn't even drink that much, but like, it's just really not that fun. It really never is. Like, and here's the thing that I've been saying to like, you never regret a night of not drinking. You're never like, oh, I wish I got fucked up that night. At least I don't. Like, I'm always like, oh, I'm glad I didn't drink. And it's been difficult because like around the holidays, like there's been a couple days where I'm like, oh, you know, I could just really go for like a drink, like a nice little buzz would be nice. But I was like, no, Madison, like, you know what this entails, you know what comes with it. And so, yeah, it's hard because like so much is revolved around it, unfortunately. So that's something I'm taking into the new year, is I'm going to be sober. And I think I want to put this out there just because I need a reminder to myself of like, this is just not who I am anymore. I think it is holding me back in aspects of my life. And, you know, a lot of like friendships and stuff are formed on, you know, substances and things like that. Like even before my spiritual awakening, I mean, when I stopped like partying and doing crazy shit, like I lost a lot of friends. And, you know, I think it's just like another test. Like if someone doesn't want to, you know, support you in a decision like stop drinking, and healthy decisions and habits for yourself, like that person's just not meant to be in your life anyways. So that's how I feel about it. And, you know, I'm really just trying to find myself. And I think that's why the last like couple months I lost all desire to like post. And I just lost desire to, I don't know. Usually I'm always so hard on myself, and I have this perfectionism tendency where I'm like, you're not posting. Like, how do you expect to grow? I got to this point where I didn't fucking care anymore. And not to the point where like, I didn't care about this. I didn't care about my podcast or like my content. Of course I care. I care about this. But like, I didn't care, to the point where I wasn't beating myself up. Most of the time on the weekends when I was off, or, I get off of work, I would be editing and I'm like, oh, I have to get my podcast up on Sunday. I have to get this video up on Tuesday. Like, it was always so much fucking pressure, like my whole fucking life. And I know that like perfectionism, you have tendencies where you don't rest and you don't give yourself the self-care you need. And as a perfectionist and also a projector in human design, rest is so fucking important. And there would be times I realized like I would be resting, but I really wasn't fucking resting. Like, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to take the weekend off. But like subconsciously or like in the back of my head, I'm like, oh my God, like I'm not doing anything. Like, you lazy piece of shit. Like, I do have a lot of like, I guess, self-sabotage tendencies. And for once, the last few months, I've not cared. Like, I'm just like, it is what it is. I have to take care of myself. And I know I'm like not in alignment. Just a couple weeks ago, I remember feeling really bitter. Even last week, like it was hard for me to feel like happy for other people. And like, I felt like, which I'm sure is something I needed to just like let go. It was the full moon, shit was coming up for me. But I remember just thinking like, man, like, I know everyone can win. I know everyone can have like a piece of the pie, like, why do I feel like I just was being very victim mentality? Like, man, why does it feel like everything is working out and for everybody else except for me? Why does it feel like I've worked so fucking hard and nothing's showing for it? Like, this fucking sucks. Like, it is hard for me to be like, oh, I'm happy for you, because like inside I'm like, why not me? What's wrong with me? And I'm working through that. I'm working through of like why I feel that way. Where is this coming from? Because I know that there is enough to go around. And like, I think also I've just, like I said, like wrapping back to the beginning of this podcast is like, you don't need anything outside of yourself. And I think for me, like sometimes I'm like, oh, if I just finish this course or if I just do this, like then I'll be good. Like, no, I think I've been trying to get back to myself. Like, I've been trying to meditate more when I'm listening to these healing frequency music, and trying to just, there's this place that I go to, and like, I don't even know if I really want to like describe it because it's so sacred to me, but it's just a place when someone's like meditate and go to a happy place, like this is a place I've always went to. And always, like even before I was like really into like spirituality and everything, like if someone was like sit and go to your happy place, this is where I went. And like I've been trying to sit there more often. I used to do it a lot, like in the beginning of my like spiritual awakening with yoga and savasana at the end. Like that's where I'd go, was in savasana. And like here lately, like I've been just going there, and like I feel so at fucking peace. It's almost like a piece of heaven. And like I've been trying to just like I physically feel like the safeness of it, and I physically feel the inner child and the hope, and like, yeah, I don't know how to explain that feeling, because it's something I've always like, sometimes I've always had issues of feeling like something's missing, and I've talked about this on my podcast. I've talked about a lot of shit on my podcast, so you guys just better go watch and listen to all the other ones. So yeah, I've always kind of felt like that. And I think it's truly just a search for yourself and like that love for yourself. And when I'm in this place, I feel that. I feel like that hope that I had when I was like 18. Because, sometimes I feel like, oh, it's just kind of too late for me. I'm 26. Like, shit's not fucking working out. And I feel that again. And so like I've been trying to like take that time for myself and meditate and do those things that are, healing for myself and what I need to do. And I'm putting myself first. And I'm not beating myself up about, oh, I didn't upload a podcast in 2 months. Like I truly am just trying to do things that, I feel like doing in the moment, and that's okay. And like, that's how a projector is, it's really important to try to learn your design and stuff, but being a projector is difficult sometimes, and trying to navigate, like, we live in a generator world where everyone's like hustle, 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 get that shit done. And like, that's just not how we are meant to. And I've been like that my whole life. And like I said, I've just been going through a lot of changes where in the beginning of this year, when I decided like, I'm not going to do Reiki anymore, or I'm going to take a break, like I realized I don't really know if I am really into crystals anymore. And I remember saying that out loud, where I have crystals all over my bedroom. I almost felt like a huge disconnect. Like I felt like almost their sadness. I know that sounds fucking crazy, but I remember telling my boyfriend, like, I don't even think I like crystals anymore. And like him, like I felt the energy. Like I almost felt like my crystals were like crying, like, why? And it's not that I don't love crystals. I do. I just realized I've had this freaking in the background this whole time. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. This is like a roller to make shirts. Oh my God. See, this is what I'm talking about, y'all. This is my life right now. But it's not that I don't love crystals. One, I have too fucking many of them. I have too many of them. I don't need any more. I have nowhere else to put them. But I'm not in that point of my journey anymore. And sometimes I wish I could get back there, because the beginning of a spiritual journey is so precious and so sacred, and you're doing so much for yourself, with the full moons, and at least I was sitting and I was doing rituals and journaling every month, and I'd love to get that back into me. And I'm trying to like find that part of myself again. And I still love crystals. Like I still like will try to like pick a crystal that is going to help me. And like through all of this, like I've been trying to, get some red jasper and ground myself, and, use more of my sacral chakra stuff to help me with, my stomach and hormones and everything. And, I still love them. It's not where I'm at right now. And I'm just changed, and I'm changing, and I've just been questioning a lot of stuff and just who I am, and trying to figure that out, and where I want to go and how I want to be portrayed. And yeah, so in the new year, I think that I'm going to try to do maybe quarterly goals and, just post more. I post a lot on TikTok, but just be myself, and maybe change my content on here. Like not necessarily change what I'm going to be talking about, and maybe like what I'm trying to change is internally for my podcast. Like maybe it's more just like, I want to be able to like fuck up on here and like mess up my words and leave it in the podcast without having to sit here and edit it out. Like this one is actually really long, and I have not cut it out that much, but like that type of stuff where I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta re-say this, or I gotta redo this, or I'm not feeling the best, so I don't want people to see me like this. Like, no, that's fucking real, and it's fucking raw. Like this is me, and this is what I'm fucking going through. And yeah, so it's gonna be difficult, I think, to kind of like let go of that like wild version of myself, because there is a part of me that, like I said, I fucking love being that wild like party, like let's fucking tear up the town. Because everyone's always a big talk. Everyone's like, we're gonna go out, we're gonna have all this fun, like come on Madison. And then like every time I go out, I'm like, I don't think you guys can keep up with me, because you guys are not doing anything. Like let's have some fun, let's fuck this shit up. Like that's just who I am. So I'm like, how can I do that in other ways, other healthy ways? Yeah, but I just bought some, like, I finally bought the shadow work journal that everyone fucking talks about on TikTok. I got that. I bought an inner workbook. I bought this fire cider that I keep seeing on TikTok, because I was like, I'm not buying off TikTok. I don't know about this. Like, what if my car gets hacked? I don't know. But I got this fire cider that's supposed to be helping with your digestion. Like, I'm doing all the things for myself. I'm just diving into myself. And I really feel like 2024 is going to be a good year. 2 and 4, like one of my favorite numbers. So I just think it's going to be good. So that's what I'm going into the new year. I'm not setting goals right now, truly, because I always kind of feel like you set goals more towards spring, like spring equinox. That's when the zodiac year starts over. And that's when you feel more motivation, in my opinion. But also, I think with all of this going on, like usually at the end of the year, it's like a wrap up for me. I'm like, okay, manifestations that I've put off are like finally coming to fruition. I can't fucking speak. I'm so sorry. Like my mouth's so dry, but usually like I feel that momentum like going into the new year, and this year I do not feel that way at all. I think maybe it's because we're also a Mercury retrograde. And Mercury retrograde is about slowing down. Like, let's talk about it. Like it's meant to slow you down and like reflect and dive into yourself. And I think that's why I'm not feeling that momentum of like, let's crush 2024, like new year, new me. Like that's just not, this never, I gave myself grace with that last year too, because, things don't just change overnight, so, but I also don't want to like sit there and like wait for shit to change. I do want to take the action, but it's like, I talked about this in a TikTok, but you can take action all you fucking want. But if you don't sit and give yourself time to process and really like work on yourself, because like I've said in so many of my podcasts is that, if you have too tight of a grip on something, it's not going to come into fruition, into your reality, because your grip is too tight. It's showing that desperate energy. And so sometimes resting and being in hermit mode is good. And that's at least what I've been telling myself, like, you know what, you just need this time for yourself, because 2024 is going to be your year, and I'm going to make it my year. I'm tired of, hoping and, waiting. I'm going to make it my year. I'm going to dive into myself. I've been doing more like EFT and tapping and really diving into how I feel. And I think that's really important, is to just get that relationship with yourself. But yeah, that's just kind of like where I'm going. I usually like make a mood board, vision board type of thing. And honestly, I didn't really hit a whole lot of my goals. And I think that's okay. Like, and I also realized like doing other work that I started, like sometimes, she talked about how you having crazy big goals are sometimes like a shield, because if they're so big, la la land goals, if you don't hit them, you can't be as disappointed. At least this is what I've found for myself. And I've noticed like if I make smaller goals and I don't hit those, I will feel even more disappointed. So I think that's why sometimes I have goals that are very out of reach. So like subconsciously, like I'm like, okay, it's fine, So I've been just kind of chilling. Like I'm not, apart from everything else going on, chilling with the part of like, oh, I got to make goals. I got to crush them. I got to, figure out my new vision board, because there's a lot of shit on there that I didn't achieve. There is stuff I did. Like there's good things about this year that I got done. I feel like I've made huge strides with my acting, and I had one of my acting showcases in November as well, and haven't heard anything yet. I don't think really anyone has, but I really felt like I killed it. And like, that's a huge thing for me. And I know that there's probably other great things that has happened over the course of this year. There's been some great moments, but, I think maybe it was just one of those years where it's just like, a stepping stone, nothing crazy really happened. And it was hard. And I think it's going to be okay. That's the moral of the story. And I'm sorry that like I am looking a little bit like a hot mess. I worked earlier today. My hair's a little crazy. My face makeup's a little crazy, but yeah, so that's just like where my mindset is. I'm taking it easy. Mercury retrograde's going to be, ending soon. And I did hear, not to get any of our fixed signs, especially Taurus, hopes up, but they did say, some of my astrologer people that I listen to said that it's supposed to be one of the luckiest times. So January to like April, it's supposed to be a good time for Taurus, is at least fixed signs. Okay. So hopefully it is, but don't get your hopes up about it. Just take action and go off your intuition. I definitely will keep you guys updated about my health and the parasite cleanse. And if I have mold toxicity, I'm sure that's going to be a whole different journey. But yeah, I just wanted to update you guys of like what's been going on and what I'm going into this new year thinking of. I'm just going to take it easy, like I don't like putting too much pressure on myself. Just like the whole, like, yeah, I'm saying I'm sober. I'm not going to be drinking, but like, I don't want that pressure of like, I don't know. I'm not going to beat myself up if I drink, there's some things like I just have like a no tolerance of like the pop thing, like drinking pop. I feel like because I will kind of fall back into that pattern. And like I said, I tend to just switch things out. So when I wasn't drinking pop, I was going to Starbucks, and yeah, I just want to be the healthiest version of myself that I can be. And my health is really important to me because I do feel like that is one of my strongest senses, spiritually, is feeling and knowing. And so like with my feeling, I think it has a lot to do with my health. And I think my body, you treat your body like a vessel. You want it to be clear. And I think just like where I want to go, like I can't be acting like this. Got to get my shit together. So hopefully this wasn't like all over the fucking place. And I'm really sorry if it is. Just bear with me. I thought about making a whole like separate episode of like me talking about rebranding and everything, but I'm not really rebranding. I'm just wanting to just get away from, I guess, the image that I think people have or expect out of me. I think it's like, I feel like people expect things out of me, and it might be my own fucking doing, my own subconscious beliefs and everything like that. So I don't know. I guess it's all my fucking problems and it's in my head. But yeah, I'm not going to probably do that. But like I said, if I start changing up like thumbnails or maybe get rid of the intro or, change up the pictures, that's just what's going on. That's what's going on with me. I'm just changing. The song, I'm going through changes. Yeah, that's me. And I've been feeling like I've been listening to that song like the last couple of years because like that's just how I feel. I'm going through fucking changes. And slowly but surely, as my grandma always said. But I hope you guys had a great holiday season. Hope you have a great new year. Let's crush it. Let's be the fucking best versions of ourselves and just go all in on ourselves. There's only so much we can do, but also, we have the capabilities, and I think everything is inside of us. All of our answers, prayers are inside of us. If we can just get ourselves to that point of really just listening and taking the inspired action, but also resting and just living your life, I think it'll all come together. So happy new year. Let's make 2024 best year yet. I will see you guys very soon. I know I'm going to start getting back on here and just talking to you guys, whether it's just like this, just like friends, we're just talking, or maybe it is something that I've learned I'm going to share with you guys. But yeah, maybe I'll just tell a funny story. I need to get that out of my head that I can't just like be me and be enough, We're working through it. I'm not perfect. And that's what this whole podcast is about. It's just showing you that I'm human just like you, and I'm working through shit just like you, and we all can just get through it together. So yeah, like I said, happy holidays. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye guys.